the scene I'll describe goes something like this. Stanley and I have decided that we're going to enter the motion picture business. That's it. We're going to do it. And the way to do it was to make a short film that will be a singular gem of a piece of work that will illustrate not only our understanding of editing and staging, but brilliant photography. The first time he was able to put together something, it emerged from his work at Look, and it was the Walter Cartier story, Day of the Fight.
This is the story of a fight and of a fighter, Walter Cartier.
That particular picture story was a combination of many of the elements that characterize motion pictures. They also characterize documentaries. The object of the film, in Stanley's mind, was to, as much as possible, reproduce the feeling between the two brothers and the people immediately around them and in the audience of just what it felt like to prepare for an event that could be terminal, could be fatal.
It's important for Walter to get Holy Communion in case something should go wrong tonight.
Stanley tried to catch the, you might call them the human moments before the fight began. And one of those moments is the two brothers alone in a room as Walter's hands are being wrapped in tape. There's a kind of tenderness and a kind of an emotional overhang there that is uncommon, and it was genuine. The events of the fight are amplified by that genuine connection between the brothers.
At a time like this, it's almost as if the brothers were going into the ring together.
Well, we had to have a real fight in order to give it the kind of value that internally it could have. The cameras at ringside had a 1-minute load. The rounds themselves were, I think, 2 or 2.5 minutes, something like that. And the agreement between Stanley and myself was that one of us would start, and at a signal, the other camera, the second camera, would be shooting while the first camera was reloading. There's some shots of the audience, close-ups of faces, and I'm in it, and Judy is in it, my wife, and this is in 1950, so we're young and lovely. Those shots were done in his living room, and he understood exactly about the fakery of movies. You can shoot it in the toilet. If you can sell it as a palace, you can sell it as a palace. Once a certain kind of person sees how a film is made and really wants to learn, it doesn't take that long. It takes a long time becoming expert, but the basic use of the tools can be demystified very quickly. His father also had a real penchant for photography and had built a dark room. And so Stanley had a dark room background. He got to be very good in the dark room. And he understood what happens when you push film, that is, increase its sensitivity to light in the laboratory, and the price that you pay for that with its increase in contrast and in grain. It was something that was a direct understanding from the black and white film that he had used as a photographer, as a still photographer. He found that bouncing the light off a surface, particularly the ceiling, gave you the illusion of natural light, a natural lighting. And his understanding of the lighting process was a fundamental grasp very early on that characterized the rest of his life's work.
As he gets ready to walk out to the arena and the 3,000 people who are there, Walter is slowly becoming another man. This is the man who cannot lose, who must not lose.
I think part of him was fascinated by the athlete and what the athlete is ready to sacrifice for his own satisfaction, for his own inner needs. And Stanley had, like most males, most American males, I guess fantasies of strength and power and so on. He was not good at anything but chess.
Above everything else in the world, Walter Cartier wants to be champion. Unlike a lot of people, he's got something to move towards all the time, and that thing's the championship. Nothing is going to keep him back from it. He goes ahead, and he never stops.
I think in the end it cost maybe $4,500. That was money he had saved up from the work on Look primarily, and he may have also borrowed some. I don't think that he ever considered that if he lost all the money it would matter at all. I think he saw only the golden possibilities at the other end of the rainbow. So did I. In some sense, there was as much hanging in the balance for me as for him in doing this, and it wasn't just the money. So we trusted each other. He understood now that the only thing that would satisfy him was the same thing that would satisfy me: total control of all the elements.
The fight Walter's riding to now in a friend's car may bring him nearer to the middleweight crown. When it's over, there'll be another coming along, and another one after that. Always it's fighting and training and fighting again. But always there's the goal.
He was a very pragmatic thinker about utilizing things and so on. He became perhaps less compromising later on when he could afford to be less compromising. If he liked a shot from day of the fight, boy, he'd happily reproduce it again. In his mind, it was certainly not a compromise. It was a good angle, and good angles should be used. And he also knew that day of the fight was a fly-by-night piece that would not receive very much interest, except as a historical thing, as a review of his life.